calculated by reference to the nature and degree of risk involved in the adventure. The ultimate objective behind this exchange is to ensure that in the event that a peril for which provision is made causes loss or damage to the subject matter, the assured would be compensated under the policy. In effect, the policy transfers the risk of loss or damage occurring to the subject matter from the assured to the insurer who will bear it should actualize. Historically, the transfer of risk by way of marine insurance policy was vital to the development and preservation of international trade. Did you know the first known marine insurance agreement was executed in Genoa on 1347 and marine insurance was legally regulated in 1369 there. Moving on further, let's talk about essential elements or principles of marine insurance. The marine insurance has the following essential features which are also called fundamental principles of marine insurance. Features of general contract, insurable interest, utmost good faith, doctrine of indemnity, subrogation, warranties, proximate cause, features of general contract, proposal. The broker will prepare a slip upon receipt of instructions to insure from ship owner, merchant or other proposals. Proposal forms, so common in other branches of insurances, are unknown in the marine insurance, and only the slip, so called the original slip, is used for the proposal. The original slip is accompanied with other material information which the broker deems necessary for the purpose. The brokers are expert and well versed in marine insurance law and practice. The various kinds of marine proposals are altogether too diverse, so elaborate rating schedules are not possible and the proposals are considered on individual merits. Acceptance. The original slip is presented to the Lloyd's underwriters or other insurers or to the lead of insurers who initial the slip and the proposal is formally accepted. But the contract cannot be legally enforced until a policy is issued. Consideration. The premium is determined on assessment of the proposal and is paid at the time of contract. The premium is called consideration to the contract. Issue of policy. Having effected the insurance, the broker will now send his client a cover note advising the terms and conditions on which the insurance has been placed. The broker's cover note is merely an insurance memorandum and naturally has no value in enforcing the contract with the underwriters.
Hi, my name is Ashley Borowski. I do marketing at Lilly & Associates International.
I'm Nelson R. Cabrera. I'm the manager of business development at Lilly & Associates International.
Lilly & Associates is a full-service freight forwarder headquartered in Miami, Florida. We specialize in ocean freight and we have offices all around the world, specifically Guatemala, Colombia, Venezuela, Panama, and most recently China. We get a lot of questions from our importers and exporters on cargo insurance. What does it entail? How much do you need? What's covered? So if you were to give kind of a basic overview of cargo insurance to importers and exporters, what would you tell them?
That's a great point, Ashley. Cargo insurance is very important in the supply chain. The first thing I would say to our importers and exporter friends is don't assume the cargo is insured. Make sure that the insurance coverage is stated in writing. Make sure, I recommend always, to make sure it's door-to-door coverage, because port-to-port coverage really doesn't cover anything. Port-to-port is from a port to the port, to the other port. So basically you're limited to what happens within the ship or the airplane. And usually nothing happens. It's not being transported, it's not in a city, it's not in a highway. So the scope is very limited as to what could happen within the confines of a ship. Now, when the cargo gets unloaded and it goes into the port and it goes into a highway and then to a warehouse, people are driving it, there's a lot of theft out there, whatever city it might be, that's when the likelihood of something happening is at an all-time high. So the second thing I would tell customers is make sure it's a door-to-port coverage. Port-to-port is much cheaper, but it doesn't cover anything. And you should not be paying 1% of the CIF value for the insurance. Make sure that the insurance company is AAA rated and has the ability to pay in case there's a claim.
And that brings us to a great point. What if there is a claim? How does an importer or exporter kind of go about making that claim?
If the first thing you got to do is each insurance company will advise you of where the nearest inspection company is. Don't touch anything. Leave everything as is. Call the inspector immediately. Have them take all the pictures. Preserve all the evidence. Do not throw any boxes away in case of water damage, for example, or the actual goods being damaged. Keep everything on the premises, so when the inspector comes, you provide them with visual proof of the occurrence. As far as the paperwork, well, your packing list, your commercial invoice, your bill of lading, trucker way bill, release from the port, because that document has how much the goods weighed at the time of being picked up at the port, and the bill of lading also. So they'll be able to do the comparison very quickly if you have all the documents ready. Obviously, the more proactive you are and the more the documents are squared away, the quicker your claim will get paid.
Insurable interest, Section 7, 8 and 9 to 16 provide for insurable interest. An insured person will have insurable interest in the subject matter where he stands in any legal or equitable relation to the subject matter in such a way that he may benefit by the safety or due arrival of insurable property, or may be prejudiced by its loss or by damage thereto or by the detention thereof, or may incur liability in respect thereof. Since marine insurance is frequently affected before the commercial transactions to which they apply are formally completed, it is not essential for the assured to have an insurable interest at the time of effecting insurance, though he should have an expectation of acquiring such an interest. If he fails to acquire insurable interest in due course, he does not become entitled to indemnification. Exceptions. There are two exceptions of the doctrine of indemnity in marine insurance. Profits allowed. Actually, the doctrine says that the market price of the loss should be indemnified and no profit should be permitted, but in marine insurance, a certain profit margin is also permitted. Insured value. The doctrine of indemnity is based on the insurable value, whereas the marine insurance is mostly based on insured value. The purpose of the valuation is to predetermine the worth of insured. Did you know Section 19, 20, 21 and 22 of the Marine Insurance Act 1963 explained doctrine of utmost good faith. Subject matter of marine insurance. The insured may be the owner of the ship, owner of the cargo, or the person interested in freight. In case the ship carrying the cargo sinks, the ship will be lost along with the cargo. The income that the cargo would have generated would also be lost. Based on this, we can classify the marine insurance into four categories. Hull insurance. Hull refers to the ocean-going vessels, ships, trawlers, etc., as well as its machinery. The hull insurance also covers the construction risk when the vessel is under construction. A vessel is exposed to many dangers or risks at sea during the voyage. An insurance effected to indemnify the insured for such losses is known as hull insurance. Cargo insurance. Cargo refers to the goods and commodities carried in the ship from one place to another. The cargo transported from the sea is also subject to manifold risks at the port and during the voyage. Cargo insurance covers the shipper of the goods if the goods are damaged or lost. Freight insurance. Freight refers to the fee received for the carriage of goods in the ship. Usually, the ship owner and the freight receiver are the same person. Freight can be received in two ways, in advance or after the goods reach the destination. In the former case, freight is secure. In the latter, the marine laws say that the freight is payable only when the goods reach the destination port safely. Hence, if the ship is destroyed on the way, the ship owner will lose the freight along with the ship. That is why the ship owners purchase freight insurance policy along with the hull policy. Liability insurance. It is usually written as a separate contract that provides comprehensive liability insurance for property damage or bodily injury to third parties. It is also known as protection and indemnity insurance, which protects the ship owner for damage caused by the ship to docks, cargo, illness or injury to the passengers or crew, and fines and penalties. Assignment of marine policy. A marine insurance policy may be transferred by assignment unless the terms of the policy expressly prohibit the same. The policy may be assigned either before or after loss. The assignment may be made either by endorsement on the policy itself or on a separate document. The insured need not give a notice or information to the insurer or underwriter about assignment. In case of death of the insured, a marine policy is automatically assigned to his heirs. At the time of assignment, the assigner must possess an insurable interest in the subject matter insured. An insured that has parted with or lost interest in the subject matter insured cannot make a valid assignment. After the occurrence of the loss, the policy can be assigned freely to any person. The assigner merely transfers his own right to claim to the assignee. Now in the end, let us summarize what we have learnt in this lecture. Marine insurance is an extremely important element of boat ownership. Physical damage coverage policy guards the boat, motor and equipment against theft, fire, vandalism, wind, lightning and other acts of nature. Trying to save money by not having marine insurance can cost one a fortune in the event of an accident or damage to one's vessel. The principles of insurance law are an idiosyncratic mixture of contract, law and practice. In the context of marine insurance, a total loss can take one of two forms, either actual total loss or constructive total loss.